Before I begin with this video, I just want to make a quick announcement that I decided to increase my usage of social media because one of my viewers who constantly leaves comments in my videos, I noticed that he got deleted. His YouTube channel account got deleted. And I feel a little guilty because he tried to reach out to me from other social media platforms. And I personally hesitated to use social medias that, requires you to use your phone numbers or other informations that's, personal. But just out of, for the sake of interacting with my audience, I decided to increase, my usage of social media. However, I'm gonna do my best to separate my personal social media with this YouTube channel social media, because I chatted with a lot of YouTubers and it's actually very good and very best that I stay in the course of being anonymous. In other words, separating my YouTube life with my personal life, because most YouTubers that I chatted with, they strongly recommend this type of, approach when it comes to social interaction. Well, without further ado, let's get started. So, the title of this video, Looking into the Past for Answers. Now, there's a lot of things in history that kind of flew over my head. And the number one thing that flew over my head, and I have listened this before, but I never took the lesson by heart, is basically the wisdom of the ancients. Many of the famous philosophers, they constantly question and seek for answers about reality. And of course, as you guys might who've been following me for the past few months, you'll know that I've been questioning about reality and, constantly seeking for answers, because as I stated throughout my YouTube channel, reality is not going to bend the knee for you. You have to work with it, whether you like it or not. And working with reality is definitely going to, increase your chances of survival. And because we're living in the modern age where basically technology, the way our social structure is, developed, our life is so easy that the only thing that we have left is basically emotional needs. Think about it, guys. Majority of us, especially in Western countries, well, not just Western countries, many advanced countries, they basically provide everything for their citizens. Think about it. A roof over your head, a basic food and clothing. Your basic need is already met. The only thing that's left is your emotional needs. That's the only thing left. And let's be honest, we're kind of spoiled on that department, because there are people out there in the world who doesn't have a roof over their head, and they're starving, having no food. So, yeah. So I constantly wonder, how did our ancestors dealt with reality? So I look into the past, and one of the famous philosophers that I absolutely love hearing is Marcus Aurelius. Now, Marcus Aurelius is a Roman emperor who was not just an emperor, he was also a soldier and a philosopher. Now, those three combination absolutely gave himself a reputation. But he is very famous for his philosophy work of Stoicism. Now, for those of you guys don't know what Stoicism is basically how to deal with life when life gives you lemons. And let's be honest, guys, no matter who you are, life is going to give you some negativity one way or another. No matter how up there you are, no matter how good looking you are, no matter how privileged you are, life will give you negativity no matter what. And yet, I came across with this famous philosopher in the history books, Marcus Aurelius, and he left behind fantastic work of how to deal with life when life gives you negativity. And his work of Stoicism still speaks to me, and it's still relevant to this day. To give you guys an example, and I quote, "It never ceases to amaze me how people love themselves more than others, and yet we care about others' opinions." End quote. That quote from Marcus Aurelius is absolutely relevant today. I still see this type of stuff. I still see this type of behavior. And I'm so amazed that people don't. Well, I do think people are conscious about this, somewhat conscious about this, but some people don't give a damn. Let's be honest. Some people are very apathetic and they don't care. So they rather be stupid and prideful, rather be learning and be humility. And Marcus Aurelius, according to the history books and according to what I've been reading about him, he struck me as an emperor who has humility. He barely show any pride because he understood that he is just the same as everybody else, despite his privilege, despite his position of power, being an emperor of the Roman Empire, which the Roman Empire was one of the most powerful nation in history, in ancient history. And yet Marcus Aurelius preaches about the concept of humility and Stoicism, of how to deal with negativity. His works not only reminds me of the philosophy of the Buddha, but also reminds me of some of the teachings of Jesus Christ. I clearly remember that one of the teachings of Jesus Christ, when he mentions about doing good deeds, is that when you do a good deed, you're not supposed to show it off to other people to see how virtuous you are. When you do a good deed, you're supposed to do it because it's part of your character. And you're trying to set yourself an example. Jesus Christ talks about this. And to my surprise, Marcus Aurelius actually said very similar things. One of his scriptures in his Stoicism philosophy says that a man, when he does a good deeds, he's not supposed to tell people, "Come and look." He's supposed to be continuing doing good deeds in order to bear fruits for his community. See, stuff like this, guys, just amazes me. How much wisdom there was in our past. And yet, right now, today, we're being very ignorant about it. And this is why throughout my YouTube channel, I kept talking about reality, because I feel like right now we're living in the age of insanity, where people are losing touch with reality. And what I'm very scared, guys, is when reality starts punching us in the face and realizing that, whatever we fantasize, it's not there. It's not what we thought it will be, if that makes any sense. And let me share a quote that really speaks to me. Now, this quote really did speak to me, and I had to, cut off the edges just to censor of the person who said it, but this quote is exactly what I've been thinking whenever I make my YouTube channel. Now, and I quote, "Those who align themselves with reality always win in the end. The problem is that when reality has to assert itself, it tends to hurt everyone." End quote. Now, this quote is very powerful, guys, and I believe this quote is 100% true. You have to work with reality, whether you like it or not. And if you work with reality very well, you will bear its fruit and you will prosper. The problem is, if you don't work reality and you go against it, you're not only going to end up hurting yourself, but you're also going to destroy your own community, destroy your own family, and you're going to destroy people around you. You're going to hurt people around you. And this is what scares me, guys. This recent crisis that's still ongoing basically exposed the harsh reality to us. And whatever we fantasize that, everything is going to be alright. No. The world. So, as I was saying, the world is a cruel place. But we have to learn how to accept reality and how to deal with it. More than ever, we need to learn from the past. Our ancestors left us a lot of books, a lot of wisdom that we need to learn. And it's no wonder we are still thriving. Some people get it, other people don't. For those who don't, they're doomed to end up being disenfranchised. I mean, let's be honest. They're doomed to end up being disenfranchised. And I hate to say that because I really do want everybody, my fellow humans, to prosper. But the problem is, and this is a hard pill to swallow, is that you cannot do much, if that makes any sense. You could do a lot to help people, to give that extra edge, but at the end of the day, it really is up to the individual. And that's why persuasion is very powerful, guys. If you know how to persuade people of doing the right thing, then you will make a better community more than ever. Well, see you guys, and I'm gonna end it here. And goodbye, and thank you for listening.